All right, guys, welcome back. Um, Happy Tuesday at the time we're recording this. It has been a few days now, almost a week, that Antman came out, and the Quantamania. We went to go see it over the weekend. Um, we've heard a lot of things going into it, a lot of negative things. But in this video, we're gonna give a little brief synopsis, outline, everything about the about the movie. So spoiler alert: if you haven't seen it and you're waiting, maybe you're waiting for it to come on Disney Plus, we are going to be talking about a lot of things. So this is your time now if you want to click away. But yeah, it'll be talking about Ant-Man. We're going to talk a quick synopsis, three things we liked, three things we didn't like, some rumors and everything that's going around from the movie since it's been out, what this leads into the future, into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and then our ratings of what we thought of the movie. So that was your time to leave. So now we're going to start getting into it. So, a very quick synopsis: it was a 2-hour movie. Pretty much starts off with Scott Lang. Everyone loves him. He pretty much saved everyone in Endgame. If it wasn't for him, it was technically the rat that brought him back. But still, it was him that got the idea for the time travel, time machine stuff. We see him, his daughter, Cassie, is getting into some trouble, and she's all about fighting fighting for the people that they believe. And Scott doesn't know what to do anymore. He saved the world, but he just seems like he's a normal guy. Cassie's been working on a machine that communicates with the quantum realm, and then I forgot what the lady's name was. Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Hope?
Mm-hmm.
Hope, the older lady, the lady that got
Janet,
the lady who
Janet,
got
Janice?
yeah, Janet. She got stuck in the quantum realm in the second Ant-Man. She starts freaking out because it's like, we don't want to. Yeah, Hope's mom. We don't want to hear you guys. Don't want to go anywhere near the quantum realm. So blah blah blah. The machine goes wrong. All four of them get sucked in.
And all that happens like within the first 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Very fast.
5 of them. Sorry. So it's Scott, Hope, Cassie, Janet, and Hank. Hank Pym. They all get sucked in and they get separated in the quantum realm. And what ends up happening is that we get a little flashback that Hope ran in. I mean, sorry, I'm gonna get that confused. Janet ran into a man who we all know when watching. It's Kang, pretty much. Nathaniel Richards. However you know him, he who remains. It's him. It's his character. He doesn't say anything who he is or nothing. He just crash lands in the quantum realm and says he needs help. Janet, being stuck there now for a few years, she decides to help him rebuild his ship. But we'll come back to that. So they go off, and Scott and Cassie are in this world. We see all these crazy creatures come out. They kind of like intimidate them, threaten them, and tell them like, "What are you guys doing here?" Blah blah blah. They tell them they are stuck. They want to go back, and then they mention Janet's name, and everyone kind of freaks out, saying that he is gonna find her. And they always mention that there's a he or him, or they call him Conquer. They never actually call him Kang. They just call him Conquer, him, he, the boss, whatever. So I guess there's these people that are in there were abandoned. Their planets were destroyed, conquered by Kang, and now they're all stuck here in the quantum realm. Move over to where Hank, Hope, and Janet are. They meet with.
Cassie.
No, they meet with Bill Murray's character. I forgot what his name was, but it was supposed to be another like the Grand Master in Thor. He's supposed to be another elder of the cosmos. That's who he was. I forgot his name. His name is escaping me. But anyway, we come to find out that Janet and him actually had a little thing, but they were trying to help each other out. But he sold himself out to Kang and betrays Janet, Hank, and Hope. Pretty much captures them, makes them go back. Um, and at this point, Kang knows that there's people here in this world, and he goes and tells them to capture them, all of them, and then we get our first look at Modok, who Modok was actually Darren. I forget his last name, but Darren from the first Ant-Man movie, Yellow Jacket. He got shrunk down, and he fell in the quantum realm, and Kang was the one who found him, fixed him up, and made him Modok. Modok stands for what is it? Machine only designed for killing, something like that. Mechanized organism designed only for killing. Yeah. That's what it was. And I loved, we'll get back into that. But anyway, he captures Cassie and Scott Lang. They're held prisoners, and then Kang walks up to them, to Scott, and is like, "Look, I need your help." And what has happened was, when Janet was trying to help him rebuild his ship is a time traveling chair that we all saw in the comics and everything. It's an actual ship that can travel between multiverses, time, whatever. And when she was helping him rebuild the battery, once they got it up and running, when she touched it, it's almost like it's connected to his mind. It's like neurogenetic.
I think that's the word she uses.
So she was able to see everything in his head, and she was able to see all the planets he's conquered, all the people he's killed, and she knows that this is a mistake. So she takes it, tries to run. Obviously, Kang is way too strong. So what she does is she grabs some Pym particles and just enlarges it too much to the point that you can't use it. And then she was able to escape, and then that's a few weeks or whatever years later, she gets taken out of the quantum realm. So now Kang is just completely stuck. He can't use his machine anymore, so he just decides to build a society pretty much there within his little battery that was there, in hopes that one day she'll return, because they're the only ones who have the Pym technology. So Kang asks Scott Lang, "You have something I need. I have your daughter. If you want her to live, you're gonna come and help me." And Scott, they have a little back and forth. Some keynotes there is that he has killed other Avengers. Again, there's no surprise from comic book readers, but in the MCU, we haven't really seen it. But he's killed other people, other Avengers. And he's just no match. He tries to say no, but Kang is just, starting to strangle both of them, whatever. So he decides to do it. He goes down into the battery. Shrinks down, until he can get into the battery so that he can throw his Pym particles to shrink it back down so he can hand it over to Kang. At this point, Janet, Hank, and Hope are coming. They know what's going on. They know what's going to happen. And they want to make sure that it doesn't happen, that Scott knows not to give him the battery, because then, he'll be free. So, time goes on. When Scott is in the battery, there's something that happens in there that is a key thing that a lot of people are really missing, which I want to talk about later. But what happens is he's in an instance of probabilities, meaning himself, he starts to replicate of all the things that he could have done. And then we see him dressed as his Baskin Robbins uniform, because that's a probability. Again, that's a probability. He has worked there before, and there's a universe out there that he still works there. Then the Wasp comes, Hope helps him out. They shrink down the battery. Kang appears and find out that he lied. He's not going to give back Cassie. He takes the power cell. Modok comes, the whole army comes, and everyone just starts fighting. Kang goes back to his chambers. He kidnaps Hope. Sorry, not Hope. Janet. Because obviously they started it together, and I guess he just wants to, watch everyone die, because she left them in there to die, pretty much. Revenge, yeah. So he starts gathering the machine and everything. His whole palace is about to time travel wherever he wanted to go. And then we see that the resistance of people who were left, Cassie gives a speech about how there's still time, he's not invincible. We can kill him, we can finish him off. everyone gets hope, and they just start going out and started fighting Kang's army. Um, and we just have this big battle scene going on, and Ant-Man, Scott, turns huge, huger than we've ever seen him. Well, within the quantum realm, and tries to take on Kang's castle, takes it down with the help of Cassie, then the Wasp and everything, and then we get the final confrontation well, not the final, the second final confrontation between Kang, Wasp, Ant-Man, and Cassie. And Kang is he's just fending them off like nothing. He's just beating all of them up until Hank comes in with his super advanced
ants.
So what happened was, when everyone shrunk down.
I don't think you should tell them all of that, because I think you're giving it too much away.
Okay. Anyway, when the point is, when they shrunk down, some of his ants from his lab happened to fall down with him. They, as time went on, they were looking for Hank. Once they found him, Hank is like, I need your guys' help. So they all go into battle, move forward, and then we get a quick little battle between Cassie and MODOK. MODOK ends up being defeated by Cassie, and Cassie gives him a great speech. And MODOK kind of turns sides a little bit at the end, helping the heroes, defeat quote unquote Kang. The final battle is they were able to open the portal back up that Cassie made. Everyone jumps through except Scott. He gets pulled back by Kang. They fight a little bit. Then the Wasp Hope comes back, helps him out. They destroy his time traveling machine, and Kang gets sucked up into the machine. And then both of them are able to leave. They leave. A few days later, whatever, they're celebrating Cassie's birthday. They won. Yeah. But at the same time, Scott can't help but think that everything Kang told him, that there's something worse coming if you kill me, if I don't stop him, whatever. It's just luring over his head. So that's pretty much the movie in a gist. There's 2 post-credit scenes. The one, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's like a snippet of the new Loki season coming out. We see one of Kang's variants at like 1920s or something.
Yeah.
And it's Mobius and Loki. They're just amazed that they saw him there.
Now, if you watched any of the previous Avengers or anything with Loki, Loki's not one to be nervous or scared, because it's Loki. In that scene, he was scared.
Yeah.
And he was nervous, and Mobius couldn't figure out why Loki would be scared of this guy. So that should tell you something.
Well, remember, I think we're getting a little sidetracked, but at this point, remember, Mobius' mind got erased. Everyone's mind got erased. The only people who know is Sylvie and Loki. Yeah. What happened within the realm of He Who Remains. So no one knows what's going on except Loki and Sylvie. And then the other post-credit scene, which is, I think, one of the best things we'll talk about once we get into the future of the MCU. It pretty much just shows the 3 other main variants of Kang and how they're assembling all the other Kangs from all the other timelines, worlds, whatever. Pretty much starting off the Kang Dynasty, So that was a quick synopsis, probably not quick enough, but whatever. So I'm going to do my 3 likes and my 3 dislikes. So the 3 likes, the first one that I liked was, I loved how they did MODOK. Now, people are going to talk about it. I don't care. They thought he looked horrible. The CGI looked bad. He was a goofy character. They killed him off too quickly. That's the whole point of MODOK. People who have read the comics and everything, yes, he's super smart. He's one of the fiercest villains out there. I get that. But he was always a comical kind of villain. And the way they portrayed him in Ant-Man was amazing.
Yeah, every universe has a comical villain.
Yeah, so I love that they did that. They did kill him off, yes, but with the multiverse, there just could be so many different things. But that was my first like. My second like definitely had to be Scott Lang. I feel like in many movies we've seen him kind of be like the funny guy, like when we saw him
Yeah.
in Civil War, when we saw him in Infinity War, I mean Endgame,
I was gonna say Endgame,
he
yeah.
was always the funny type, kind of like the Spider-Man kind of guy. But in this one, there was actually some. Not that there wasn't anything to fight for before, but
You
when
just saw more of a serious side
yeah, like when
because, like,
Cassie got
yeah,
dusted.
they pulled Cassie in a lot.
Well, yeah,
So.
when Cassie got dusted, he was just trying to get her back. But here we physically see Cassie getting, put in jail, like hit, like, whatever. And that really
Mhm.
brings out like anger within Scott because it's his daughter. He already missed out so much the 5 years with the snap. He doesn't want to lose her again. You really see more of a side to Scott that you haven't seen before. And I loved it. I don't care what people say. It's like, oh, this movie wasn't about Ant-Man. It was all about Kang, or it was all about Cassie. No, Scott was in there 90% of the time. It was
Yeah.
all about him. And then obviously the last like is Kang the Conqueror. He was by far one of the best villains portrayal I've seen on screen. Josh Brolin did great as Thanos. I'm not gonna take that away from him, but we saw very little of Thanos compared in this one movie what we saw of Kang. Um, that's my gripe with it, is that Thanos was built up as this big force, and then when we finally saw him fight in Infinity War and Endgame, um, it was great. But then they pulled the whole let's go back in time and kill him when he was not that powerful. Whatever. Kang had more of a force, more of a feeling like he was a character, and I like that about him. Um, do you want to tell your three likes, or you're just gonna go along? I don't.
I
Anything
can
to
say
add?
a few. Yeah, I mean, like, not. I don't really have anything like different. I liked that. I don't want to say that I liked they recast Cassie, but like, if you've seen the previous Ant Man's, the girl who plays Cassie this time around is not the same girl that played in the past. And say the girl in the past played a great Cassie, but this one, like, she's grown, she's more of an adult. You really kind of see her character develop a little bit more. She's not just Ant Man's daughter. Like, she's a young girl with her own ideas, her own feelings, and things like that. Um, I liked the plot, but I think where well, I guess I could talk about that later. But
Yeah.
I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. It was like on the in between.
All right. So now we'll do three things we didn't like.
Yeah.
Um, or just things we didn't like in general. Um, I felt like so yeah. The first thing that I didn't like about it was it felt very like rushed. Like you got into the action really quick, and not that there's a problem with that, um, but it just felt like boom, boom, boom. They were trying to show off Kang, but then they ended it so abruptly. Like they just he showed up, he did his thing, and then they ended it like that. And I was like, feel like there should have been more of a build up in between the middle. Like there was a lot of times where they would talk where I feel like they shouldn't have talked. Like some unnecessary dialogue, whatever. Maybe to build the story up. Maybe that's just me, but that's one of the gripes I have with it. The second one probably have to be the other people that were living in the world there. We didn't really understand how they got there.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know that their world was blown up and everything, but did they live within the quantum realm?
Yeah.
How did they transfer there? How did they know to get there?
Were they sent there? Like,
Yeah, it's like it felt like none of them. Not that I needed for them to have a backstory, but at least something like, oh, when
I
he
think
disappeared.
also because like Hank, as soon as Hank arrives, he's questioning like how they
Yeah,
got here, who are they,
yeah,
and it didn't help that we just didn't have those answers.
yeah.
So
And then the last thing, which actually a lot of people are talking about, if you're on TikTok or YouTube or whatever, is Janet. I'm sorry, I like the actress. I like um, her portrayal as Janet. But this was something life threatening, and she did not mention it to anyone about Kang. First of all,
yeah,
why was it that in the second Ant-Man she had no problem then going back at the end of the movie with Hope, and that's when they got stuck in there before Endgame started. Remember, they got stuck
Mhm.
in there.
Mhm.
Why didn't she mention it then? Like, do not go back there. There's a guy in there. They didn't bring it up. I know it's story building, whatever. They probably weren't thinking that far ahead, whatever you want to call it. But all the focus was on her not telling anyone, and she still never really told him why, other than
Yeah.
the fact that she helped him rebuild his time machine. But then she took it away, so it's like, why would you be afraid to tell someone your mistake when you already fixed it? Like, all this could have been prevented if you would have told Cassie from the beginning, don't mess with the quantum realm. There's a guy in there that I helped that's gonna destroy the world. Cool, whatever. You know,
We
it
wouldn't
just
have a story then.
but it just felt awkward. Why would they do that? Like
Yeah.
it felt like it would be something that should have been said rather than, oh, every time they would ask her, she would just turn her head to the camera. And it's like, just say it. Like, wow, what happened? It wasn't until like 45 minutes into the movie she finally explains why. But at that point, it's too late anyway.
Yeah.
That was my last dislike. It was just Janet was a little weird in the movie. Again, that's just me.
Yeah.
You have any dislikes?
The only like dislike I had was kind of how the plot played out. Like, it felt very familiar plot wise. Like, if you've ever seen a Star Wars movie or even like an old Marvel movie, there's always an underdog who's trying to save the less fortunate people, and they're trying to defeat this villain, and then there's a rebellion, and then they win. Like, we've seen this plot over and over and over again in Star Wars. We've seen it in other Marvel movies. Like, I get that, there's only so much they can work with and there's a storyline they have to follow, but it almost seemed too familiar. So, I don't know. That was the only like dislike that I had, but like still overall the movie itself was really great. I just didn't care for the plot all that much, but that's just because it just seemed very familiar.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So now it is. We're gonna be addressing some of the things that. So the movie has been out, and again, if you've been living under a rock or anything, or haven't been on TikTok or YouTube, you've seen that like 90 to like 92% of creators, especially Marvel content creators, have been giving this movie such a bad rating, reputation. Worst movie of Phase 5. Worse than Thor, yeah, Love and Thunder. Worse than Multiverse of Madness. It was terrible. Kang got defeated by ants. Like, how was something so strong about to die? Um, they're just gonna keep replacing him with another Kang. Like, that's not a story. I've heard it all. I've literally heard every single thing you can think of. Though, I mean, again, I think, and this is coming from me, what people tend to forget is that everything they've done, Marvel has been doing, comes from a place, the comic books. They all come from the comic books. Everything you've seen comes from the comic book, whether they take everything completely straight out of the book
Or
or they
bits and
take
pieces.
pieces of
Yeah.
it. It still comes from somewhere. And people don't seem the content creator, and I'm not singling anyone out. The content creators who are doing this, you can tell, have never picked up a single comic book in their life. They've done some Google research on who Kang is, and they read the first page and they're like, I know the whole character. No, Kang has been around since the 70s, 60s probably. He was one of the very first villains that they've done. He's been in so many different storyline plots and everything that's where they're taking this off from. So, to address the two things that have been annoying me watching all these content creators is one is that Kang got defeated by ants. I don't know if you've heard that.
No, I haven't
Everyone has been
actually.
complaining that Thanos is so
I
much
can see why
better.
they would think that
Yeah,
though.
that Thanos is so much better.
I disagree.
Gore was so much better. That Kang,
Gore?
yeah, that Kang was the worst villain they've done. They did him dirty. Jonathan Majors didn't deserve that. Blah blah blah. Jonathan, if you've not seen any any interviews with Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors is the actor who plays Kang. He has literally said, like any good actor, he has sat down and read most of the comic books. He understands.
I think we've been seeing a lot with a lot of the newer characters.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because
Moon
you
Knight
need
did the
to.
same thing.
Yeah,
You know,
awesome.
yeah, he did the same thing, and he did an amazing job as Moon Knight. So, you know, you got to do your research to, you know, be accurate.
But I think that's why they don't even take the time to address any of this, because they know what they're doing. They're the ones getting
What is that
paid.
called? Method acting?
Method acting, yeah.
You know, we saw it in Joker with Joaquin Phoenix and R.I.P. Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
You know,
But, I mean, the whole point I'm trying to make is that Kang is not one person. Anyone who, you can Google it, the first few sentences will be like, Kang is not just one singular person. He is a person that exists over all realities of all time.
Yeah.
Now again, Kang did not get defeated by ants. If you don't remember, he got up after that and he still was fighting Scott. He's the one who pulled him back before they turned back to Earth. He didn't get defeated by ants. He got sucked into the portal, the battery at the end. Now that's the second complaint. People were like, how is it that all he did was get sucked in and that's how he's gonna die? Now, though I told you guys I was gonna come back to this point. What was going on when Antman got sucked, when he went in there with Hope?
From what movie?
This movie. When they both went into the battery, remember? And then all those storm of probabilities happened. Remember?
Yes.
Okay. Both of them had multiples of them. And what happened at the very end? They all converged into one. Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then they helped resize the battery back. You know, remember, this all happened in the movie for the people who are still complaining. So what do you think is going to happen when Kang goes in there? He is going to have a storm of probabilities within himself until he can find a way to escape. It'll all converge into one. And he'll escape. Yes, he doesn't have PIM technology. Yes, he's not going to be able to just escape. But talking about a guy who already is the strongest we've seen, you mean to tell me that he's just going to be stuck there forever? No.
Yeah.
That's just, I'm sorry, that's just stupid that people are saying that he's just gone completely. That there's no way he's just gone, you know. So, as for the future, now that I was addressed those things that people have been saying, I guess the big part would be the first post-credit scene. We saw Rama Tut, which is the pharaoh-looking Kang. We saw their names are escaping me right now.
Iron.
It's a variant of Iron Lad. Yeah, Iron Lad. Look this up. And then the main Kang. I'm gonna have to look this up. So you can say what did you think about that post-credit scene?
I mean, I don't know much. I didn't know much about Kang going into this movie. I mean, everything I knew came from him. So he seemed like a cool character, but like we saw him in Loki, and like I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw him, I was like, this guy, like, what's he gonna do? Like, I didn't quite understand the scale of Kang until I saw this movie. So, if you watch Loki and you didn't quite understand his character, this movie will definitely give you everything you need to know. And his plans and why he did what he did in Loki, and it just kind of brings it all together. So.
Yeah, okay. So, the names, again, the guy with the pharaoh head is Rama Tut. We'll come back to him. Second guy is Immortus. That's the silver guy. His name is Immortus. Sorry. Scarlet Centaurian is the metal guy. Immortus is the one with the beard and he looks like Jafar from Aladdin. He is the elder Kang. He is the one, the eldest one, the strongest one, you might say. Those three, obviously there's a lot of Kang variants, but those three are like the top tier Kang variants. So we see them talking about how they exiled Kang and that he's dead, and then the one says he's not really dead, is he? He's like, no, he's not. I'm gathering all the other Kangs so we can go and finish what he started. And then we get this scene that they're all in the Coliseum, um, and they just a bunch of Kangs start appearing, and then they're all just pretty much laughing and ready to fight. And then we get a scene of they pan over the stadium, and in the stadium seats are also just a bunch more Kangs, and that's actually taken straight out of the comic books. That scene right there was taken straight out of the comic books during the Council of Kangs. I think it was Secret War. I don't remember exactly where, but so we get that, and we, at the end it says Kang will return, whatever. The
Which
Kang
we knew
Dynasty, yeah, pretty
that.
much it's the start of the Kang Dynasty.
Yeah.
Um, Now, for people who don't know, Rama Tut, like I was trying to explain to her last time, in a very quick matter, he has been one of the villains of the Fantastic Four.
Mm.
Now we all know Fantastic Four movie is coming in 2025, so it's probably likely to say that he is going to be the first villain for the Fantastic Four. Um, a Scarlet Centaurian, he is like an Iron Man kind. Um, so we could probably see him in like Armor Wars or anything like that, the upcoming movie show that's going to come out. And then Immortus will probably be the last one we see in Kang Dynasty, facing off against regular Kang. It might be a Kang on Kang battle, Kang the Conqueror versus Immortus. Who knows? It just there's a lot of possibilities, but all this opens up pretty much the whole intro into Phase Five. Phase Five is literally just going to be about Kang, so expect to see so many different Jonathan Majors Kang in shows, movies, everything that's going to come out from here until Kang Dynasty comes out. Um, there were already talks that Skrull Kang that we saw at the
Yeah.
end is going to be the villain for the Marvels movie coming out
Mm.
because, again, it's all about Kang. It's all going to lead up to that. It's always been Kang. Kang has been here for a while. So that was, I think it really is leading into a good Phase Five, and then Phase Six will be the end of it with Secret Wars, and then hopefully we get to see um, the third major because it always comes in three. In the first 10 years, it was Loki, Ultron, and then Thanos. This time, so far we've gotten who was I don't think we got anything from yeah. So I think we've only seen Kang. Um, there might be a second one. It might be Doctor Doom. It might be whoever else, and then the major baddie. Who knows? It might Galactus or whoever they end up choosing. Who the final guy? But it always comes in three, and I feel like Kang is the first of that. So it's looking pretty good for the future of the MCU. So the last thing is the rating overall. For the first movie of 2023, first Marvel movie, the beginning of Phase 5. Phase 4 was a little rocky with all the shows and movies that they had. It was kind of overwhelming to pick one major winner. But I think 2023 Phase 5 so far, this has been a pretty good movie. So I'm probably going to give this movie a solid 9 out of 10. Um, Out of everything from Modoc to Kang to Scott Lang, it's good that they didn't kill him off. We're still gonna see more of him. And then his daughter, maybe they'll do the Young Avengers team that they've always talked about. So yeah, I give this one personally a 9 out of 10. If you haven't seen it, I recommend you go watch it. Honestly, don't listen to what anyone says, or if you want to wait for it to come out on Disney Plus, by all means. But experience it for yourself. Don't let what other people tell you dictate
Influence you. Yeah.
how you should react to
I
a
mean,
movie.
I think I'd give it like I was gonna say like an 8.5 out of 10. I mean, we said the same thing with Morbius. That movie got so many like bad, terrible reviews saying it was awful. They didn't do a good job. Jared Little sucks. Blah 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 blah. We went and saw Morbius and we loved it. So fully. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but definitely if you're a true fan, you know, go see the movie or wait till it comes out and then, form your own opinion.
Yeah,
Don't just listen to what everybody else has to say.
yeah. So yeah, overall, we definitely give this one 2 thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
Go watch it. Experience it for yourself. Let us know what your favorite part was, your least favorite part. Did you hate this movie completely? Give reasons why.
Yeah.
Don't be like those people that just go with the flow with what everyone says. We everything now is in the internet. You can literally find out anything about anyone. If you're not sure, why is it that Kang did this, or why were there so many Kangs, do a quick research. Or even better, go to your local comic book shop.
Hmm.
Ask anyone there. Be like,
Get an
do you
actual
have any?
comic.
Yeah, do you have any Kang comics? I'm sure the people there would love to bring someone new on board that knows comics, that wants to know about comics and all that.
Yeah.
This is gonna be here for a while. Marvel's not gonna go anywhere anytime soon. So now could be a good time to start, a new hobby. If you're younger and all this looks great to you, by all means, pick up a comic or not. You can go everything on YouTube. Look up video. There are other creators that read the comic book to you. All those things. There's so much things now you can go and do. Um, but yeah, so that's gonna be the video ranting on for a little bit. So thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. Tell us what you think of Ant-Man Quantumania. And are you guys excited for the next movie, which I'm pretty sure
Guardian?
Guardians.
Yeah.
That one will probably be a longer video than this because who knows what's gonna happen in that. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a good day.